Hello my friends, welcome to my living room. Today the weather outside is so bad that I really don't even want to go out to the garage. But today I want to talk about soft luggage, which is something I've been asked for a few times. And I want to talk about those bags which I have already used, which is the Wolfman Expedition Dry Bag, the Enduristan Monsoon, the Mosko Moto Reckless 80 and the Giant Loop Great Basin system. My oldest soft luggage so far, which I've been using for quite a few years, I think 6 years maybe, is the Wolfman Expedition Dry Saddlebag, which is I think also the cheapest of the three I want to show you today. I think it's around $250, something like that. It's made of a very robust plastic material. It's high frequency welded, so no seams which could leak through water. Only on the reinforced parts where you actually sew the straps on a layer of that plastic and then high frequency weld that to the body of the bag. The bags are connected with two straps, which you see here. Let me fold it over. Two straps which you can adjust and separate with these Fastex connectors, which go over the bike, but you need to have some sort of rack on the inside because there's nothing that prevents the bags, as you see here, from falling to the inside. So they are designed for use with a rack. So they are a nice alternative if you, like I had at those times, a motorcycle with hard luggage, but you're looking for a lighter solution, need to keep the rack, but want to get rid of the extra weight of the aluminium, or in my case plastic panniers which I had. So on the rack we are fixed with these straps which go around. We have a newer fixation system. I'm still using the old one where you have a D-ring with a Velcro fixed on the rack, and then you push this ring through and then you pull the straps tight on the outside and click them together, and they sit really perfectly and do not move at all. Perfect fit. Volume is a little bit on the low side, but for a longer weekend trip perfectly okay. Weigh, say, I think something like 18 liters, which you can increase if you do not roll it all the way down, because it's this simple, you know that, simple rolling closure, and then you click it here into some straps which are here on the side. So this is quite adjustable. I think you would need at least, I guess, 3 overlaps around here to get them completely waterproof. Once I crashed with the bike, so one of the bags, this one here, has a little puncture hole here. There was a sharp stone which went through, of course. There's a little plastic reinforcement on the inside, so the contents was not damaged, but the outer shell. But Wolfman is supplying a repair set with some patches which you glue on the inside, and so far it worked nicely. It's still waterproof. I have also added these bottle holsters here on the outside, quite simple, on these loops which you have here. So I can have on the front, directly behind me around here, 2 1-liter bottles with water or something to drink. Very nicely done. Very good quality. Here is one seam which has gone up, but I think after all these years I've been using them, is that perfectly okay. The bag still works, of course. When I planned a trip to take a motorcycle 3 months through Canada, I realized that the Wolfmans are maybe a little bit too small, and I wanted a solution which does not require a rack. So actually I bought the Enduristan Monsoon. I have to admit I got them from Enduristan 50% sponsored, so I paid only half the price. I paid full price on all the other products I'm showing you. I will always tell you if I have had some advantage from the manufacturer. I didn't have from the other bags. Just Enduristan gave me a 50% discount because I had some stickers on the bike which I showed in some slideshows also. The Enduristan Monsoons are basically the same principle as the Wolfman. It's a rolling top, which you see there's a little plastic stiffener here on the top, makes it a little bit easier. They are a little bit larger in the volume, quite a bit larger. and it's not such a stiff material as Wolfman is using, but a two-layer design with an internal stiffener. And you see also that the inside is a red fabric, which is quite nice because it makes finding things much easier than in the plastic inside here. On the outside we are using here some tough nylon material also on the bottom. And you can hear there is some plastic stiffener on the inside. Every bag has two dividers inside. Let's see if I can show you that. I don't know if the light is sufficient. You can fold out these dividers and put in some dry bags here, so which don't fly around, and you still have some space left in the middle. I'm not using it that way. I simply keep them folded outside, and then I have a little bit of space here to put maps or other papers in there. Fixation is totally different from the Wolfmans because they should also work without a rack if you're lucky. Two straps again which carry most of the weight. They are Velcro, so you can adjust the width. And then you have on the back of the bike, which is towards you, a strap which goes around the back of the bike. And on the front here, on the bottom of every bag, you have a rubber-loaded elastic strip which you take around the passenger foot peg, pull it tight on the front, pull it tight on the back, and the bag should sit quite nicely. Works on most bikes, not always. Most important is of course that you make sure that it doesn't touch the hot exhaust. When I bought the Africa Twin, I tried it once and I rode with it. It works, but I think it's not perfect. On the right hand side of the bike there's the exhaust. I have a heat shield on it, so there the bag sits quite nicely, but on the left side it folds a little bit to the inside. It only has a support on the bottom corner here from a part of the passenger foot peg, but it's still not really as stable as I would like it. So you really need to test it on your bike and find the best position, and might need to make some adjustments there. Either some bar going around there which keeps the bags from falling to the inside, or something else. But top quality, I really have to say that. I used them, as I said, for 3 months and 26,000 kilometers in Canada, continuously, every day, packing, unpacking. They show of course some sign of wear on the inside, something has been going in here, but this really tough material is not punctured yet. All the straps are perfectly okay, there are no welds going up, so great quality. By now Enduristan has the 3rd generation out. You can check that on our webpage. I'm not sure what the difference between the first two and the 3rd one is. Probably basically the same one, and they have a little handle in the middle also to carry them. So highly recommended Enduristan Monsoon, and I'm not saying this because I got them 50% sponsored again, because they really did the job very well during the 3 months in Canada, and they still last. I'm still using them. For example, on the CCM, where I have a rack, they work absolutely perfect. So let's go to the 3rd one. In September I actually bought, as you might know, as you will for sure know, a Africa Twin, the current model. And when I tried the Enduristan bags on them, I realized it is not really a perfect fit. The problem with the Africa Twin is the wide passenger handlebars. On the KTM 1050, 1190, 1090 probably also 1290, you can simply remove the passenger handlebars with 4 screws, put a spacer below and reattach the top luggage rack. This is not possible with the Africa Twin because the handlebars are an integral part of the back part of the bike. And they're quite wide. So when I put the Enduristan Monsoons on it, the one side, as I said, was okay, the left side was not really nice. So I checked for alternatives and finally decided to invest some money, and it's really an investment, in the Mosko Moto Reckless 80 system, which you see here. That consists of several parts. First one is this harness, which goes on the bike first. Imagine you are seeing this from the front, so I need to turn this a little bit around to make it more easy to see. So you have some side parts, side legs, which form a holster for a dry bag. On the back side of both of these holsters, you have another very robust made bag, which is not entirely waterproof, but you can use it for tools, maybe for a spare tube or something like that. 2 times I think 5 liters. The whole system will have 80 liters. And you have the middle part, which folds up like that. So once this is on the bike, you get from Moto Mosko 2 dry bags, those here, which have a window on the front, so it's quite nice, you can see what's inside. And they have a little stiffener on the back side and a loop on the bottom, because what you simply do is that you push them in there, and then you can grab through a hole in the bottom that loop and pull them down, pull the dry bags down on both sides. Let's do this here also. Of course, this is much nicer and easier once all that is mounted on the bike. How is it mounted? I can show you that. On the back you have 3 straps which go around the tail of the bike, for example the luggage rack, and go back in here. And on the front you have on the bottom of each of the legs a strap with a very nice, very stable, robust metal bucket, which go around the foot pegs, the passenger foot pegs, and if you tighten all that, it will sit really nicely. What I realized is that the fit was still not perfect on the Africa Twin for my taste. I think it was too slim, so I inserted what you see here on both sides, 2 parts to make it wider, which I fabricated from 6mm rubber sheet, 5 centimeters wider on the back and about 10 centimeters wider on the front, which also adjusts the angle so that the bottom straps perfectly go to the passenger foot pegs. So again, this is what you do first, putting the harness on the bike and then putting the dry bags in. We do have a fixation, of course, here to make things even tighter and secure them. You do that on both sides. Here's the other one. Everything is done very robust and really well done. And on the top you get another dry bag, this one, which has some straps on the side to hold it, to carry it maybe. You can also of course carry it here on the top. It has a little bag on the front, which I guess, I'm not sure, is it? Oh yeah, it should be completely waterproof. So you could put some papers or whatever in here, and the zipper should keep the rain out. The clue is on the back side. You have another zipper here which you can open, and out comes 2 shoulder straps, 2 straps which you can attach on the bottom here, so that you have actually a waterproof backpack. Really nice for people like me who like to go occasionally hiking. I don't need a big backpack for that, but I can use that one as a completely waterproof backpack. So that thing has some velcro here, some velcro there, goes simply on the top like this, sits there nicely, and then you fold the first part of what we call the beaver tail over it, which holds it in place. And you see from the back of the bike, you still have access to a mat pocket if you fold this open, because this part simply goes over here. And then there are 2 connectors also here, Fastex connectors, straps, which you can use. And they are made actually so long that you can still put even a tent sack or a jacket or whatever you want, another bag, another stuff sack under here, because these are really quite long. So you see, you still have quite a space here. You could put a tent on the top, for example. Gets quite high, but should work if it's not too heavy, of course. They even have made some loops here, which you can use to attach, they are intended to use as an attachment for tent poles, but they might also work quite nicely for hiking poles, which I'm using when I'm in the mountains. So, very nice done, very robust material, I have to say. Of course, it's not the lightest solution, quite the opposite of the 2 other systems I showed you before. It's about, I think they say about 7 kilograms. Well, but consider, one aluminium pannier is around 4 to 5 kilograms. Plastic is not much lighter. The rack will probably also add something between 5 and 10 kilos. So this is much lighter than those hard solutions. And you can hopefully use it on a future bike without any modifications. And you can even carry it on an airplane as checked in luggage if you rent a bike somewhere and you have your own luggage system. You just need to remember to take your heat shield with you, because also here, of course, it doesn't like getting in contact with an hot exhaust. You also see, very nicely done there, a lot of attachment possibilities here, and also on the front. The bags here probably could hold some spares, as I said. Everything looks very robust. It's even almost too stiff, but okay, you want robust material and not soft stuff. So I'm really looking forward testing this on the Africa Twin in spring. So far, as I said, I've just mounted it. I haven't been riding with it. It's simply not the weather in Sweden right now. It's around freezing, it's totally icy outside, so there's no way riding a motorcycle without studded tires right now. So here's my summary. If you have already a rack on the motorcycle, you might want to consider the Wolfman expedition bags, which basically work with any rack, but they require one. However, they are a little bit on the small side when it comes to the volume, but they are robust and they are 100% waterproof. If you want to keep it light, you might want to try the Enduristan Monsoon saddlebags. What I've seen on their webpage right now is that the third generation is not listed there anymore in the web shop, so that might mean that there is maybe a fourth generation coming soon. They basically should fit any bike if you make sure that they don't touch the hot exhaust, and they normally sit quite nicely there, but you need to try it actually. The Mosko Moto system is the most complex one, the most heavy one, also the largest volume one with 80 liters. He basically should fit any motorcycle, they say. A lot of different packing possibilities. You have the two stuff sacks on the side, the one on the top which also works as a backpack, and some map pockets and other stuff. What I didn't mention, by the way, the hole in the middle part is intended for those bikes which have a filler in the back, like the 690 Enduro or my own CCM 450. Disadvantage with those is, as I said, they are the heaviest solution with 7 kilos, but still much lighter than any rack and aluminium panniers. And you can only get them from Mosko Moto in the USA directly by their web shop. They do not have any resellers anywhere in the world, just to keep the price down. They are still the most expensive one, and you need to consider if you import them yourself from the US, you will probably pay extra fees like I did in Sweden, where I paid another 25% tax and 9.6% custom fees. So they get quite expensive, but they I would almost say once in a life investment. The Giant Loop Great Basin bag, which I sold, is also worth a consideration. However, they are not 100% waterproof by design because they have seams which are not sealed. So you need to get that with silicone. I still had the problem that water was getting inside, and I had about 2 centimeters of water standing in both of the legs after a day of rain. So I actually made a hole on the bottom for the water to drain out. So you need to pack everything inside, again in separate dry bags, which makes it a little bit complicated finding stuff. I also didn't like the zipper, which is a robust one, but closing it was very hard depending on how the bag was packed and how the temperature was when the material gets very stiff. Any of those will work on basically any bike. You just need to try that, and that's the risk you take when you buy them, of course. So, after this really demanding job to record this video, I think it's time for a beer now. By the way, I will probably make you a review of the Mosko Moto Reckless 80 system once I have really tested it in spring. I have not done it yet, as I said, it's too bad weather outside, no really use in driving right now. But anyway, cheers, and maybe time for a movie now. See you.